Welcome back to the Crypto's Key Conversation. In today's video, I got a lot I want to get through. It's going to be exclusively about Ripple versus SEC stuff. So we have a couple updates there in regards to what's going on in litigation. Then we have Eleanor Terran and them come on having a conversation about this Coinbase investigation that's taken underway. And they're going to start transitioning and talking about how the power from the SEC over the crypto space is going to start, transitioning into the CFTC, because clearly the SEC isn't for protecting investors, and their tactics of regulation by enforcement is not being liked by anybody within the industry, especially when it comes to investors themselves, Congress, and platforms obviously like Coinbase and so on. So everything that we're going to be covering in today's video, we have some different video clips, some different tweet threads. It's going to it's going to show the transition and how things are starting to kind of gravitate away from the SEC in regards of their power, strangleholding the entire industry. Clearly, based on the videos that we've been putting out and all the information that's been out there so far, it's clear and quite evident that the SEC is literally grasping at anything to gain some sort of foothold and some sort of dominance within this industry. So it's just kind of a waiting game to see how things kind of play out. But quickly jumping into CoinGecko here, we're currently sitting under $1 trillion market cap. So we're back under that 1 trillion. We're currently sitting at 998 billion, currently down 5.5%. Bitcoin sitting at 20,913. Ethereum sitting at 1,380. If we scroll down here, XRP is currently sitting at 33 cents. So I don't think we have anything major as in gainers, but a lot of that's due to market uncertainty. Clearly, we're under that 30 again, so we're still in the fear range. We're outside of the extreme fear range, which is huge. But there's just a lot of market uncertainty, especially waiting for what's coming on, what's coming out in regards of big announcement with Jerome Powell and the Fed. Are we officially in a recession, based on the announcement coming out, what's GDP is going to, what that's going to be, how is it going to affect our markets? People are kind of starting to, I guess, pull back or hold back in regards of, their investments. And on top of like the big players within the industry, they say that it's evident and it's known that they're factoring in certain, interest rate hikes and certain, potential market downside, variables or factors, but no one really knows what's going to happen. And if reports and data comes out, super negatives or super bearish, we're definitely going to see some more downside. But if it comes out positive and the interest rate hikes is less than what's expected, it could be super dovish and super positive, and we could see some more upside. But no one really knows. It's just kind of a waiting game to see what happens. But there still is that market uncertainty, and it's clear that it's been that, we went from being over $1 trillion, now we're back under $1 trillion market cap. Here goes an update from James K. Fallon. Says the Ripple defendants have filed a request to file a reply letter in support of their sealing motion to correct certain factual mischaracterizations in the SEC's opposition to the defendants' sealing motion. The SEC does not object. XRP Crypto says, honestly can't believe they're still arguing about SEC expert documents that don't even matter since Ripple is winning. I can agree to that based on the evidence that we have that's been presented to us. James K. Fallon also is commenting on Stuart Alderoty's tweet here. If we come in here, this is Ripple's general counsel here. Says, great insight from former rep Todd Tiart. And this article here says, quote, the SEC has manipulated the absence of regulatory clarity of blockchain technology to justify going beyond its authority. And that's kind of what we're talking about. They're overreaching, they're overstepping, enforcement. They're pretty much trying to dominate and completely control and stifle the innovation and growth within this space. They're clearly, as they're saying, stepping out of their lanes, overreaching, and what they call overregulation by enforcement, which is the wrong way of doing things. So you can come in here and read this. It's from realclearpolicy.com. The only Congress can fix the SEC's mess on crypto. So just a waiting game to see kind of what Congress does as well. If we come back here, James K. Fallon just kind of throwing some love that way. It says, from Stuart Alderoty regarding the SEC's manipulation and abuse of authority. And then you got like a bunch of, if you come down here and read this tweet threads and a bunch of these comments down here, they're hilarious. And a lot of great information comes from the community as well. They put out a lot of great information. We're going to be covering, if I come over here, where's it at? Yeah, we're going to be covering something that these, these Twitter and XRP community sleuths, these investigators have had surfaced in regards of our current chairman, Gary Gensler, talking about, all these platforms and these companies and these projects got to get registered, but he's not following the law and the rules in regards of his stuff. So we're going to cover that in a little bit here. I wanted to transition into kind of what Eleanor Terra's been talking about. It says, in response to the Coinbase investigation, an official close to one of the largest crypto exchanges says, quote, this is a direct response to Congress increasingly understanding that the CFTC or even an SRO is the best way to regulate an industry as dynamic as crypto. It's a last-ditch effort to try and take back control before the Loomis Gillibrand bill passes or the Republicans take back office. Gary Gensler believes that if he can't get one major arrest or court win, he will be able to save face and possibly even claw back control from the CFTC. So that's what I'm talking about. It's like people are finally starting to see the writing on the wall, like the XRP community has been screaming about for over the past year. So, Congress, other powers that be, platforms and exchanges, blockchain technology companies, whether they're in, litigation with the SEC or not, they're starting to see like, hey, we need something better out there, and if the CFTC is the better option, then that's what we need to do. I personally feel like it would be decent of the government to come up with some sort of some sort of agency that's pertinent and specific to, the crypto space in general. Get the leading experts, get the people that can develop, some sort of law or framework or background that can, not stifle or hinder the innovation within the space, the growth within the space, that can truly be a positive force for this space to flourish, but have its own agency. Like you have the SEC, you have the CFTC, created a crypto agency that can literally be running the show. So this space can do its thing, do what it set out to do with its use case, its utility, and the technology in general. XRP Crypto says, literally everyone hates the SEC. Even Congress knows that by now, and that's kind of what I'm talking about. It's clear that, the SEC they're literally grabbing at anything to, as they say, save face, knowing that, they're kind of going down. It's a sinking ship. So we'll see how things kind of roll out as we get, through the next days, weeks, and months. This is from cowboy.crypto. It says, quote, Coinbase went into public, did not register as an exchange with the SEC. It's registered as a money transmitter that have the license through the SEC. That's why they register for it, not to be a crypto exchange. And he's quoting Eleanor Terra. We're going to take a listen into this really quick.
John, Charlie and I learned today that actually Coinbase, when it went public, did not register as an exchange with the SEC. It registered as what it is, it has a license to be a money transmitter, and they have that license through the SEC. That's what they registered for, not to be a crypto exchange. So they are not officially registered with the SEC to do what they're doing. So the fact that the SEC is now coming after them for potentially selling these securities or not securities, whatever they are, it just goes to show the arbitration where the SEC is not being forthcoming with saying, this is a security, this is the way we want you to act. And this is a company that has a relationship with the SEC. Ripple doesn't have a relationship, or a very good relationship with the SEC, but Coinbase has been compliant throughout all this. And now the SEC is doing 180 saying, you're selling unregistered securities.
No, you're right. Remember a lot of Brian Armstrong, the CEO of Coinbase, took a lot of criticism in the crypto universe when he basically bent. Remember, he was going to have that Coinbase Lend product. Yeah. He was notified, if you go forward, even though other people had it, right? BlockFi and others had it. If you go forward, we're going to sue you. And he, in order to be compliant, he stepped down. And look how that rewarded him. And look how the SEC is rewarding him for being compliant.
I think, another person would be great to have on here is Hester Peirce, because, she's got to be going nuts right now. That's probably a good call for us tomorrow, Ellie. I can't imagine Hester Peirce is like not losing. This is crazy at this point. I mean, this is like, you follow the logic of what Gensler's doing, and it is shut down the industry.
Charlie,
maybe that's what they want to do. I mean, do you ever think of it?
He says this is crazy and shutting down the industry. I mean, yeah, literally. And it's crazy because I'm wondering if we would have made this progress if we didn't have the Johnny Deetons, the Jason Fosters, the Eleanor Terrets, and the Charles Gasparinos and Johnny Deetons and the XRP community. Like if we weren't out here scratching and clawing, kicking and screaming, fighting the good fight, like will we have made this progress, to this degree? Or will the SEC have, completely taken over the entire industry? I always wonder that. Obviously, we'll never know, and I'm very thankful we have the decentralized community that we have came together to fight the good fight, and I'm glad we have people like Eleanor Terrett and Charles Gasparino, Johnny Deet, Jason Foster, Empower Oversight, and all these people that are truly out there surfacing, facts. We have legal side representation. We have Twitter sleuths. We have, everything that we need to be equipped to fight this good fight and stand up for our rights as investors within this space. Couldn't imagine not having it. It's nuts, especially with the amount I've invested in, since 2017 up until this point. It's nuts, man. Moving on here. This is from Johnny Deaton. He's responding to one of the library's tweets, and I just wanted to cover what he's saying. He says, "Make no mistake about it. Gary Gensler is all about protecting the incumbents." And that's just straight up and down. He's clearly not here to protect the so-called investors that he and the SEC are set out to protect, and it's quite evident. And I wanted to bring this up. This is from Gensler Facts, and I haven't fact-checked all this information myself, but I've been seeing this going around, and I just wanted to cover it. Long story short, it says SEC Chairman Gary Gensler is often telling people to get registered. So that's how he talks. Come in, come get registered with us. Have a conversation and let's work this thing out. All in all, we know that that's their tactic of bringing these companies in, Library, Ripple, bringing these companies in, gathering information on them so they can go out with a lawsuit and have, some inside, or not inside information, but have some, in a sense, some ammo to attack and utilize the information that they got as a weapon against those companies. So let's take a listen into this really quick.
Get registered, come in and seek to register. You're supposed to register. Platforms have to register.
So look, it says, but does Chairman Gensler think about registering his own 125 million fortune? So it says, so his lectures crypto companies to, quote, come in and register so he can trap them into lawsuits. Guess what we found lurking in Gary Gensler's 100 million plus fortune? He is not registered. So if we come down here, let me try to zoom in. It says on September 27, 2005, Gary Gensler created a family investment company, Annabelle Lee LLC, which holds somewhere between 34.5, or we'll say 35 million and 101 million of his enormous personal fortune. And it comes down here and says, the state of Maryland requires Maryland businesses to be registered with the state to do business. Our research found that Annabelle Lee LLC has not registered in Maryland or any other state since 2006. So breaking the law. It continues. He stopped complying with the law in 2006 and his LLC registration was forfeited. That means the LLC that holds most of Gary Gensler's huge fortune has been, quote, not in good standing under the law for 16 years. So they have these links here. It says, this means Annabelle Lee LLC technically doesn't exist and has no right to do business in the state of Maryland. In fact, doing business in the name of an LLC after its registration is forfeited is a crime. Says, as of 2022 OGE disclosure form, as chair of the SEC, Gary Gensler still lists the unregistered Annabelle Lee LLC as holding 35 to 101 million of his wealth. So right here, coming down, it says, by failing to maintain the registration for his, quote, family investment company, Gary Gensler has apparently been breaking the law for over 15 years. Why should any company listen to Gary Gensler when he's breaking the law himself? The answer is simple. Gary Gensler is a hypocrite with no credibility. So this word really sparked a conversation on Twitter here because I think it was, forgot what judge, one of the judges within the litigation process, residing over the Ripple versus SC case. I don't think it was Judge Torres. I think it was, I can't remember what judge it was, but pretty much said, the hypocrisy behind, the SEC's actions and what they're saying. This kind of back and forth that they've been, presenting within the case. And then here we go. Gary Gensler's a hypocrite with no credibility. And this is, this is who's leading the charge with, our SEC. This is the so-called individual sitting in a chair that's there to protect a so-called, investors. It's crazy. Stefan Huber pulls something up too, which is quite interesting. So we talk about Joe Lubin and his involvement with Simpson Thacher. We talk about, not Joe Lubin, Bill Hinman, who gave the Ethereum free pass speech back in 2018, June 2018. We're talking about how he was told that he was forbidden for having communications with Simpson Thacher. Obviously, he disregarded that and went about with it. Come to find out, there was a $15 million, in a sense, we'll say, deal or handout to him to give the so-called speech. You know, obviously, if you're not aware of any of that, you can, you know, check the Ethereum Free Pass timeline. You can kind of get all that information there. But long story short, Stefan Huber pulled up, this is quite interesting. It says, bombshell, Simpson Thacher left the Enterprise Ethereum Alliance sometime between May 2022 and today, and is now no longer a member of the EEA. What could possibly be the reason for this? Did they perhaps believe Johnny Deaton EEA conspiracy theory, or part of the cover-up? So obviously right here, it shows that they're there. This is the Enterprise Ethereum Alliance.org right here, all the members. And then if you come to this other image right here, it's gone. So you have SAP, Splunk, Sigma Ledger, Steerperlot. So if we move over here, oh, what am I doing? SAP, Splunk, you know, Sigma, yes, and they're right here, but they're not in this one. So I thought that was quite interesting. I want to thank Stefan Huber for putting that up. Coming down here, what is it? Right here, Mr. Intuitive Trumers Only says, the cover-up is how you get caught. Yeah, we'll see. We'll see what, you know, comes out of all this stuff, all this hard work that's been put into this background investigation by the Twitter sleuths and the XRP decentralized community. This is from Digital Asset Investor. Says, was the SEC literally in business with the Enterprise Ethereum Alliance? Because this is from Stefan Huber. Says, here Hinman mentions in November 2018 that an SEC registered company did its proxy voting process via blockchain technology. I bet it's Ethereum. Does anyone know which company he was talking about here? So let's take a listen in real quick.
Beneficial owners who hold in street name and challenges
Bill
communicating
Hinman. That's
with
Bill
their
Hinman.
shareholders. We've also seen some real-life examples where the proxy process did not work as well as we would hope, particularly in some contests. Getting to accurate results has sometimes been slow, costly, and cumbersome. Yet there are reasons to be optimistic about finding solutions. New ideas like blockchain technology are increasingly being embraced by participants in the financial system, from NASDAQ to Broadridge, DTC, and Wall Street. The Main Street investor has a strong interest as well. Recently, one of our registered companies completed its first use of blockchain technology for voting at an annual general meeting. We're interested in hearing the panelists discuss how innovation and technology can present a path forward to modernizing and improving the integrity and the effectiveness of our proxy infrastructure.
Well, there you go. You see kind of how everything, like even in this video, you can see kind of how everything's kind of pieced together, how it's almost like connecting the dots. Now the Ethereum Free Pass timeline, the ETHgate timeline, everything's being pieced together by the community. It's way more powerful than the little bit of information that's here, but you can see how it's like all these government agencies, these government officials, and you know these other major corporations and institutions, and you know these big players within the industry. It's like, dang man, like if we got all this information based on not having much information, what is really out there? What don't we have? You know, is this you know, these documents and these Hinman emails gonna shed light on, you know, all the other shady stuff and scandal stuff that's been happening within this ETHgate stuff, and the whole stranglehold and the you know, trying to create a monopoly with Ethereum and Bitcoin within the industry? Like it's for me, it's as much as I've been affected you know, from all the shady stuff that's been happening, especially the Ripple versus SEC lawsuit, and you know, how it's affecting my investment portfolio and my financial plans, just like the rest of you guys out there. It's super intriguing because it's like, how dumb do they think people are? Like, how did they not expect people to, you know, stand up, especially with today's social media platforms and people being able to communicate, and the fact that, you know, all this stuff is them in their own words, them on video footage, you know, them on documents. It's like, how did they not expect like this to come back? Like, did they really think that they can go out and gloat and brag and talk about all these different things and not not to come bite them back in the butt? Like, it's crazy to me. These are supposed to be highly intelligent, you know, sophisticated people. But now look, a bunch of, you know, I'll say degenerates, and I'm speaking for myself and people like me, but a bunch of educated degenerates and an XRP community, the Twitter sleuths, and you know, these background investigators all surface this stuff. And now it's starting to really hit the mainstream. Now we're starting to get Congress involvement. And now we have these other, you know, groups and agencies coming to finally step up and fight the good fight with us. It's crazy to me. It's super intriguing though. I'm curious to see, how things are going to really roll out. And are we really going to know the real truth? How much stuff is really going to be redacted and pretty much shredded and burned and gone forever, lost. Crazy. Wanted to end on this from Digital Asset Investor says, ever get the feeling that the largest financial scandal in history was uncovered by a few XRP holding Twitter sleuths? He says, I do. Hashtag ETHgate. And that's literally what I'm talking about. It's crazy. You have major people within our decentralized community that really literally started, getting the ball rolling down the hill. Now it's just a massive snowball that's literally taking out everything in this path. Because you know why? We have the truth on our side. It's not unfounded speculation. This is literally facts from them in their own words, them on documentation, them on video footage. We have the truth on our side and they don't. Hashtag ETHgate. I mean, we're going to keep bringing it. It's crazy. But that's the update. Make sure you come and follow the Crypto is Key Conversation YouTube channel. Follow us on Twitter at CryptoIsKey1. We're really excited to keep growing this community. I want to thank you for all the support and the people that's been watching. I know it's small views, small channel, but I enjoy doing this, and I really appreciate the 170 members of plus of you that really have been subscribing and following the videos. With all that being said, stay strong out there. Be safe.